All right, YouTube, time for another one. Time in different lokas. As you know, I think in Islam they speak about the seven worlds, and definitely in the Vedic system they speak about the seven worlds. So let's talk about the planetary systems real quick. Below your feet, you have seven dimensions. Patala Loka. Patal is foot, and the worlds. Patala Loka is the worlds below foot. And then you have the upper planetary system. So let's go through it real quick. Om Bur, Om Buvaha, Om Swaha, Om Maha, Om Janaha, Om Tapaha, Om Satyam, Om Buloka, Earth. 1 day equals 24 hours. Human time, fastest changing realm, right? And then you have Pitraloka. Pitraloka is like the planet of the forefathers, the ancestors. That's where a lot of our ancestors go when they pass on. If you have children, more than likely you go to Pitraloka. All right? So, Om Bur, Om Buvaha. I like to point out something real quick. That world, the next world after the planets, the earthly planetary system, Om Bur, Om Buvaha, Buvarloka. That's where you get your disembodied beings, because it's a transitionary phase. So when people talk about ghosts and disembodied spirits, they're usually seeing beings that reside on Buvar Loka. So in Pitraloka, 1 day here equals 1 day in Pitraloka equals 1 month on Earth. That's 15 days is the Pitr's day, and 15 days is the Pitr's night. Right? So that's just the next dimension from ours. Then you have Devaloka, or it's also called Swargaloka. 1 day of the Devas equals 1 year on Earth. That's 6 months is their day and 6 months is their night. This is what the Christians and the Abrahamic religions call heaven. Okay, that's very important. It's a temporary realm. You go and you live there a very long time, Devaloka. So that's Swarga, that's heaven. After you burn up that good karma that got you to heaven, you usually reincarnate on an earthly planetary system. So that's Om Bur, Om Buvaha, Om Swaha, Swarga Loka. Om Maha, Mahar Loka. 1 day there is 100 years of the Devas, right? It's a world of great sages, and that's where the time dilates massively now. So you're going to a higher level. Om Bor, Om Buvaha, Om Swaha, Om Maha, Om Janaha, Janaha, Janaloka. 1 day is thousands of years to the Devas, the realm of mind-born sons of Brahma. You see, procreation is different when you get up to higher dimensions. You don't just procreate through mixing body juices. Up on those levels, you can procreate through the mind. A lot of people talk on earth, the world is made by your mind. You can manifest things through your mind. But you're light years behind yourself, or light years ahead of yourself. When you really get to those steps where you manifest things directly through the mind, that's when you're living on Jana Loka. That's a different dimension, very high. That's number 5. Then number 6, Tapa Loka, right? So Om Bur, Om Buvaha, Om Swaha, Om Maha, Om Janaha, Om Tapaha. Tapaloka. 1 day is millions of Deva years. That's the home of ascetics who survived past cosmic dissolutions. Now we're going into time scales of trillions of years now. Remember, the scientists got it all wrong. They're trying to catch up to what the Vedas have already given us. Krishna explained that the Vedas is the source of all knowledge, right? The lifespan of this particular universe is 100 years of Lord Brahma, or Obatala, depending on what system you come from. His lifespan is so immense that this universe has a lifespan of 311 trillion years. All right, very important to understand. 311 trillion years, meaning the half-life of this universe would be about 155 trillion years. Lord Brahma is currently about 50 years old. That means that this universe is about 155 trillion years at this point. Tapaloka, Om Tapaha. One day is millions of Deva years. And oh yeah, by the way, there are certain beings that live in this universe that have survived the previous rebirth of this universe, meaning they were here before this time scale began, this time cycle began. If you need evidence, go to ancient Egypt, look up Sekhmet. She is the lady of the mansions that existed before time began. Time is universal, it's eternal, it keeps going. But there's a time when this universe expands and it contracts. Right now, we're in the expansion phase. That's why your galaxies seem to be moving away from each other faster and faster and faster. When Lord Shiva takes over at the end of the lifespan of this universe, then everything will begin to contract back into the skin pores of Lord Vishnu. That's how it works. If the scientists want the truth, instead of trying to build upwards, they need to go straight to the Vedas and receive the knowledge downwards. That's how you really get smart, right? So, Satya Loka, that's also known as Brahma Loka. One day of Brahma is 4.32 billion Earth years. One day for Lord Brahma. So Krishna says, I come once in a day of Brahma. So that means he comes once every 4.32 billion years in his original form as a cow herd boy. Krishna's coming to this planet every day. He's visiting the ants. He's visiting the plant kingdom, the molecular kingdom. Krishna is never absent from our world. But in that original form, as a cow protector, little boy, always appearing at the most 16 years and younger, that original form that he's enjoying in right now in Goloka Vrindavan, which is, this word Loka means world, right? Or dimension, planet. He's enjoying eternally in the world of the cows, but he comes down here for certain purposes. But in the material world, Satya Loka, Satya is purity and truth. Brahma Loka, one day of Brahma, 4.32 billion Earth years. The highest Loka is beyond most karmic time. When the time of each Loka is understood, the vastness of creation becomes clear. The references for this information is the Vishnu Purana and the Bhagavata Purana. Bhagavata Purana is also known as Srimad Bhagavatam. Srimad Bhagavatam. Now, there's a verse. This has been covered previously in my other videos, why it's not really wise to worship demigods. Look at it another way. Your mom's passes on. You pray to her, right? Help me out here, mom. But in the world she's in, it takes a month. It takes a month of your time just for one day of hers to pass. So if she's in a processing unit for, 12 hours of her time, we're talking about weeks on earth before she even gets your prayers. And if she gets your prayers. And then you're talking about demigods, and people are worshiping demigods that have been known for millions of years on this earth. And you don't really, unless you speaking directly to a demigod, that's like an ant trying to communicate with you. It might be it might be the smartest ant in the world, and it's trying to communicate with you and send signals. And you're totally oblivious. You're just driving your car down the I-95, and you have no idea that the spider is giving you the cure for cancer and stuff like that. But that's our relationship to the demigods. We're like less than bugs to them. It don't make no sense to pray to them. You might as well pray to the Supreme Lord. A lot of these demigods no longer hold the office. And you have to determine, when you're worshiping the demigod, am I worshiping the person or am I worshiping their office? There's a difference. The sun god has an office. The sun god has a department. You have to know the difference between their personal name and the name of their department. That's why the ancient kings of Egypt had a personal name and they had a royal name. So you got to know what you're praying to, and you shouldn't waste your time. with certain things, because by the time your prayers get through to some of these beings, you would have been gone, dead and gone 10,000 years ago. Now imagine this scenario. You died 10,000 years ago. You ask for something that's no longer significant to you. And the demigod received your prayer and sends you your blessing. Now you got to reincarnate back into a similar situation to experience the boons or the blessings of something that you asked for 10,000 years ago. And I don't know, you could reincarnate on a planet like Earth and it could be a nuclear wasteland at that time, or it could be totally flooded over. So you have to consider that, first of all, you want to try to cut down on your material desires. You want to make your desires more spiritual so that you can move on to the eternal world. Krishna, the many meanings of the name Krishna, which is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It means charisma, to draw, to attract, to plow. But one of the meanings of Krishna means the cessation of the cycle of birth and death. So in order to take advantage of the full blessings of immortality, one has to become well versed in the science of nescience, which is material knowledge, and spiritual knowledge side by side. You can't be all spiritual or you can't be all material. You're not going to make it to the path of immortality and fully enjoy immortality by just being left-handed or right-handed. You got to be ambidextrous when it comes to the knowledge and the science of life. So I just wanted to drop those gems on you. Time moves different in different realms. And instead of praying to demigods, just pray to the Almighty to guide you. You know what I mean? We're all going to find our path. It's an individual path. It might take a few moments or it may take millions of lifetimes, but you're all going to find the path because we are all eternal parts and parcels of Sri Krishna, and he wants his parts and parcels back in his presence. And with that, enjoy the video, share, like, describe it and subscribe it. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.